Thank you very much. Thanks. Thanks very much again, Liam. I will now invite our next presenter. So it's Francesco Pecchianti from RINA Consulting. And he's going to talk about the Alliance for Energy Cooperation in European Industries. Francesco.
Thank you very much. As presented by Regis, I'm going to present the Alliance for Energy Cooperation in European Industry. First of all, what is it and how it's formed? This alliance, it's a collaboration among 5 European projects by START, which are namely Embers, Incubus, Races, So What, and Sparks. Together, they put together 64 unique partners for about 15 million euro in funding and 10 European countries. In this slide, you can see more or less that the focus is on thermal energy first, but not only, and objectives are to reduce energy costs, reduce CO2 emission, and have a more sustainable and efficient energy. You can see the focus of the project. You have an information about the website. I won't spend too much time in detailing what is doing every project specifically. I will say a few words about the different projects later on, but I would like to focus on why this alliance. First of all, the why is that the potential for energy cooperation and waste heat recovery is huge and largely untapped in Europe. Energy represents up to the 20% of total production cost for energy-intensive industry, and even more in some sectors, not all, of course. Despite this, there is a significant amount of energy which is still lost, not recovered, and wasted, as said, that can be employed in ways and has this potential also for decarbonizing EU in different ways. Improved energy efficiency can lead to energy savings first, to the industry themselves, but also to reduce CO2 emissions in other sectors, as the building sector, which is one of the main focus of this Sustainable Places conference. So the objective of this alliance are to enhance the collaboration, boosting energy efficiency in Europe. We want to maximize the impact of different projects by collaborating again, and industrial symbiosis and waste heat can be put forward as one way to work on this direction. Indeed, if we want to achieve the 2050 goals for zero carbon emission, we deem that this is one of the few ways to achieve these results, because working on the single industry, single sector, single building, it's not enough. That said, I would spend a few words about the project involved in this initiative so far, and I will come back on this so far by the end of my presentation, starting from Sparks, which is the only one project which ended in a couple of months ago, in June. And the objectives were to create instrument, replicable ones for energy cooperation. The focus was really on energy cooperation, how to achieve so, from joint contracting, energy services together, also analyzing the regulatory and legal framework which can enable, facilitate, but also hamper this aspect. And of course, capacity building was a crucial part of this project, as we identified that many times energy cooperation is not happening just because there is little knowledge or just people looking at their own industry in this case. So we analyzed the state of the art, we envisioned an instrument analyzing barriers and solution to these barriers. The objective was to support industrial parks. This was the focus, and we developed the what we call the initial assessment tool, which objective is really to kickstart this collaboration. One other project which, let's say, it's goes in the same direction is So What, which aim to develop and validate an integrated auditing tool, because often energy is wasted because, as presented before, the industries, but in general, who is managing it, don't know exactly where it is used, this energy, how it is used, and which is the potential. So this is the aim of So What, to develop a tool to analyze the industry and also to analyze options for recovering waste heat, waste cold, and how to best integrate renewable energy sources in the mix. One other project, which is, let's say, the sister project of So What, it's called Embers. It's running more or less in the same time, so it's ending next year. And it wants to develop a platform for energy modeling. The aim is to simulate alternative technologies and business scenarios to enable, once again, waste heat recovery and waste heat and waste cold recovery. How to do so? First of all, it's necessary to identify the user with geographic relevancy for heating and cooling demand and supply, because from one side we have, as you will see later on, industry, which is often a waste heat producer, but one key point is to define who can be the user, so the sinks for this waste heat. And the matching is one key topic from the two sides, the technological sides and the business model side. The other project presented and part of this alliance is RACES. I know there will be another presentation later on RACES. And its scope is to promote a transition to a circular economy based on industrial symbiosis and energy cogeneration. How to do so? The focus of RACES is on what they define it as ecoregions, which are geographical areas where energy and information can be exchanged between the different stakeholders which should have the same scope. And how to do so? Again, they develop different tools for different scopes, namely the self-assessment tool to kickstart this kind of symbiosis, the legal decision and support tool to analyze the framework and to understand better how it is done, and an energy management platform. Then Incubis focus again on energy symbiosis, and I would like to say that somehow it's a successor of Sparks. It tackles the similar problem, or meaning which is why energy symbiosis is not happening. We saw many examples of energy symbiosis working, many examples of energy symbiosis not working, and the barriers are often the same, meaning high risk of the project in the development phase, low risk tolerance for investment in waste and byproducts, and most of all, lack of skills and capacity to properly manage these risks. Therefore, the solution proposed by Incubis is the energy symbiosis incubator, which is an intermediary that can overcome barrier, manage risk, present solution, and from many different perspectives. Once again, when we are talking about energy symbiosis and the combination overall, let's say the problems are never only technological, only legal, only informational, but there is a mix of problems and a mix of solutions to these results. I want to present now few use cases, let's say, from this project, some interesting use case. One of these is coming from Sparks and is focusing on Chemie Park Linz, which is an industrial park in Linz, a chemical park, and they have a ton of waste heat. Specifically, the problem was double. From one side, heat was not used, and therefore energy was not used. But from the other side, one other problem is that the river Danube was used, as often happens, to cool down some heat. And of course, they comply to regulation, which doesn't allow to heat up the Danube River up to 50 degrees or something like that. So they also faced problems with the production just because they didn't have enough cooling power. And the solution that we are proposing is to link with this waste heat with the existing district heating in Linz city via heating, of course, but also heat-to-cold technology to solve the summer problem where they couldn't cool down the heat and they need some sink for that. So heat-to-cold technology could be a solution for that. In this case, discussions are ongoing. We don't know if finally this will be implemented. It was a CSA, so not a project where it was supposed to happen, but this is what they are studying. One other example is Imerys Graphite and Carbon, which is located in Belgium. And what they want to do is to make their business more sustainable, but also more future-proof, because we know that industry are delocalizing out of Europe sometimes and so on, but in the moment that infrastructure is there, there is a business model also not just focused on the production, but even to other sources of financing and on money. It's an incentive to stay where they are and to continue the production. So different options are being analyzed: the electricity production from waste heat, carbon valorization in other chemicals, and so on. Just because here cooperation is key. This is again one industrial site, but it's the objective is not to look just at the site, but at something more. As another example, it's the park in Greece, the industrial zone, where they discovered, let's say, of course, part of the project, but they had heat sources and heat sinks. And basically what it happened is that they didn't spoke enough one to each other. So they didn't discover what was the potential and what was the opportunity for them. Therefore, in this case, the economic feasibility of the project is ongoing, but the potential is for sure high. And in this case, for example, its storage requirements are being analyzed, just because having a source of waste heat in this case and a sink of waste heat it doesn't mean that it's feasible, because there can be time discrepancies that prevent the project to be developed. This example comes from RACES. It's about the ecoregion, and again, the feasibility study is underway, but it looks like there is the potential for linking a cartiera, which is a paper mill, with the district heating network. In this case, again, we do already have the two infrastructure on place. We do have the paper mill, we do have the district heating, and cooperation among the two is what is going to happen, hopefully, just to a mutual benefit, because in the end, what should happen is that the district heating will pay for the heat, and in the end, the paper mill we won't have to cool down the heat somewhere in some other way. So coming back to the very first part, at the moment, this initiative is led by these 5 European projects, but is an open initiative. We want other projects, other companies, other initiatives to join us with this common scope. So we would like to invite people to join us. It can happen via dissemination and communication, but it can happen also with other kind of collaboration. Indeed, now we are focusing on dissemination and communication as it is in the first stages, but we plan to work also on the technical side, cross-contaminating our results and hopefully achieving better performances of the different projects. That said, you have the link, the information, and I'm open for questions, if any.
Thank you very much, Francesco. I have maybe one question for you. So the Alliance, you mentioned that you are looking for more projects, yes, potentially. And so just to understand, the Alliance, you also get funding from the EU, not to run it? Okay. So you are based on membership, maybe?
Yes, exactly. Yes, in this moment, it is 5 ongoing projects, 4 ongoing projects and 1 finished project. And the idea is that we are willing to have other partners that by themselves want to collaborate. In this moment, we are in the very initial phases, so we don't ask for membership, we don't ask for sponsorship. Of course, we are counting on running projects that wants to collaborate. So basically, it's part of the activity of the project from one side. But of course, we think that we can have other projects that can be generated, other opportunities. And therefore, in this moment, it's a very open initiative to anyone who wish to participate. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks very much, Francesco. And I do believe that at R2M, we do have 1 project which might be relevant to join the Alliance, even though it's, I would say, the recycling of waste heat is just a small part of the project. But still, if you consider it's relevant.
Yeah, it's relevant at the moment that the aim is, of course, to decarbonize the general, the focus is more on the industrial side, and cooperation should be a key. So it's if it's just recycling within the site, it's more on product efficiency, energy efficiency. So it's a bit out of scope of the alliance. But whenever cooperation is an option, then we are more than welcome to if you join us.
Thanks very much again, and we might be in touch then.